आपको लगता है नए jobs होंगे और people will be losing their previous jobs?
To transform from 2.0, 3.0 to 4.0, the biggest challenge is about the connectivity.
What do you think will be the next frontier after Industry 4.0, if you have any idea about it?
The proper utilization of human intelligence and artificial intelligence.
Now I would like to know a little bit about your personal life and career.
I started my career in industrial automation, I think around 2004, 20 years back.
What is this one key takeaway that you would recommend all the business entrepreneurs or the leaders?
Hello and welcome to our very special show. This is your host Sanyukta Baijal and I could not be more excited to bring you an exclusive thought-provoking discussion with those whose work exceptionally shaped the future of technology. I'm in a conversation with Mr. Kapil Khurana. He's a visionary leader, a managing director of TechnoViz Automation and a freshly minted author. He is here to discuss about his book Digital Revolution, which is about Industry 4.0 and Industrial IoT. Welcome to the show, sir. Thank you. I would like to ask you, can you explain Industry 4.0, the concept, to those who are totally unfamiliar with it?
Most of the companies is not taking this Industry 4.0 concept in a comprehensive way. They are just doing very small projects into it just by taking the data, small machine or small segments data for their usefulness or some remote connectivity things. So that will not be fulfilled over the complete Industry 4.0 concept. If you are talking about the comprehensive way of this, it is beyond that. Your whole company, your whole industry is on a digital platform, and the culture which is there, it's not just about the production and it is not just about the engineering. Your HR, your finance, your all horizontal and vertical segments are aligned to that digitalization process. So this is the way, in that way only you can achieve that Industry 4.0. And in these things, the complete data, whether it's related with the sales and marketing data, your product launching data, your complete product cycle data, and of course your production data is also important in that way. And but taking all that things and collaboratively using all these technologies, including blockchain technologies, including augmented reality, mixed realities kind of technologies, will make these things fulfill Industry 4.0. It is not just about to taking the informations on your mobile phone, it's Industry 4.0. Industry 4.0 is much, much beyond that.
Okay, so since it's a lot more popular in West, as we spoke, बहुत सारे लोगों को इंडिया में हमने अभी डिस्कस भी किया कि नहीं पता है इस कॉन्सेप्ट के बारे में, Industry 4.0. A lot of people do not know. Is this the reason that you planned to write a book?
Yes, yeah, this is one of the reasons. Yes, I thought that to write this book just because this is a new concept into it, and we have to make more and more people familiar about this concept and about these technologies into it. Part of that, we are working with lots of universities and colleges also. And in colleges, there is no such a academic curriculum. This kind of subjects is not in their curriculum. So if some students is interested to learn about this concept, some professionals is interested, so some sources are available, but there is a very few structured informations available on the internet and some open sources over there. So after that, we decided we should provide this kind of resources to the person who is willing to get more information about this concept.
Great. I would want to know, after, of course, you have explained a lot about this and you have also highlighted the part कि India में अभी बहुत ज़्यादा awareness नहीं है, and people who want to pursue something in the same field, how would you guide them? What should they do?
This concept is basically for the manufacturing, for factories, and for different industries, right? If you're talking about some manufacturing sector in that, from civil to mechanical to electrical, instrumentation, electronics, cyber, all these fields is required into it, right? So if you're talking about Industry 4.0, by making all that, designing the structure, if this is some greenfield project, if you're talking, in that all this skill set is required. If you're talking about the industrial automation, so automation is not just a single product, it's the customized solutions. So for that, if you're talking about robotic solutions and some mechatronics kind of solutions into it. So from mechanical to electronics, electrical, instrumentation, cyber, all things is information required. So anyone who is there, who is having a technical attitude, I could say, rather than some academic qualification, but is a technical attitude into it, they can easily be learn these kind of things and pursue their career in this field.
There are some of the companies, those who are implementing Industry 4.0, and what do you think are the biggest challenges being faced when they are actually transitioning into Industry 4.0?
Yeah, I think it's a good question. Generally, we are talking lots of things about artificial intelligence, machine learning, data analytics. So all these things is a new technology. It's no doubt. Is adding lots of values, no doubt into it. But if you're talking about the practical scenario, lots of companies, many companies are nowadays in India is working on Industry 2.0 and 3.0 phase. To transform this 2.0, 3.0 to 4.0, the major challenge is the connectivity. The connectivity up to a machine level, up to a line level, up to a department levels, up to a factory to factory communication. What's the thing was happened in past after the globalization, when lots of industries came to India, they have established into it, because we were not manufacturing anything here in India. Most of these technologies was not developing here in India, and most of the things was imported, right? When they were importing something from Japan, they were using some other different kind of proprietary communication protocol, some proprietary kind of hardware they were using into it. When they are importing from some European countries, some US countries, so they have their own country-wise. There is not some standard communication protocols. They are not standard things. So what the thing is happened during the time, our local industries which they are using a mix of that. Some of them using some Japanese products over there. Some are using their Western products are there, and they are the complete proprietary things which they are using. And Industry 4.0, the basic requirement is to exchange the information, to getting the data in a centralized location. So to convert these things, one proprietary things to the another, and to use lots of gateways, communication things, and creating that kind of solutions is the biggest problem nowadays, is the biggest challenge. If you're getting all that information on a centralized location, whether it's in cloud, remote cloud or local cloud, so after that you can use a different multiple kind of technologies you can use. After that you can use analytics into it. After that you can use IoTs, you can use completely virtual realities kind of concepts into it, but when the raw data is available into it. To make that basic infrastructure ready, which is compatible with the Industry 4.0, is the biggest challenge nowadays, so which is called connectivity for that.
So as we spoke about, obviously challenges are there, but one of the biggest challenges what I feel is, of course, a lot of employees, those who are wary and like they are kind of resistant towards, taking up new technologies and learning things. So how do you think our industry is actually dealing with that? Organizations, multiple organizations which are implementing Industry 4.0, how are they dealing with that?
Related to manpower, right?
Yes.
Human resources. Yes, of course, these are new things, new technologies is introducing after some time. So now it's revolutions. It's not just in the industries, but everywhere into it, right? Earlier we are using calculators, now we are using laptops. Now it's revolution to the mobile phones. VR headset is going, metaverse is the future of that. So new technology is coming, there's no doubt into it. And skilled manpower is always a challenge for that. So if we share my thought, when I started my career around in 2004, when the laptop, that was the window-based software was just introduced for some programming purposes. During that time, my RAM in my laptop was around 256 MB, somewhere like that,
yes.
Right? And I request to my company that I'm struggling for that. Can you enhance this RAM? So they have allowed me to use 512, and I was very happy during that time that my laptop is having a biggest 512 MB RAM. So nowadays my mobile phone is carrying a more than 6 GB RAM into it. So it's just 15-20 years back. So technology is evolving. So we have to be update ourselves regular basis. So new things is coming every time, and it's completely going to change the life. It's going to impact the whole sectors.
I mean, of course, you're talking about your own personal experience. So, उसमें एक बहुत बड़ी चीज़ आती है कि when various various technologies that make up Industry 4.0, which one do you think which will have the most profound impact on, the traditional industries?
Industry 4.0 concepts, the multiple technologies is a driving factor for that. Industry 4.0 is cloud computing is one of them, is industrial Internet of Things, blockchain, augmented and virtual realities, cyber securities. So these are the multiple technologies which needs to be used to achieve that Industry 4.0. I think the most dominating technologies in this field is the industrial Internet of Things. If you're going for the internet, you can make any passive device to a reactive device. You can convert any normal device to a smart device by using a industrial Internet of Things. So in that, multiple sensors is required, smart technologies, connectivities, data storage, edge computing. Then it's a multiple things will get into it. So IoT is playing a very important role in Industry 4.0, no doubt into it.
What advice would you like to give to small and medium enterprises looking to embrace Industry 4.0?
There is a one misconception about this. It's most of the persons are, people are considering that Industry 4.0 and the technologies which you are talking is just for the big companies or big manufacturing sectors who only has to adopt these kind of things, and they can maintain and afford these kind of technologies. And the ROI which they are calculating only for that kind of big manufacturers, but which is not a true. Because optimization the resources, using the proper manpower, increase uptime, decrease downtime, root cause analysis, preventive maintenance is the basic requirement. And in fact, small and medium industries required a lot to be more competitive. So for them, this Industry 4.0 adaptability should be much higher into it, right? So they need it much more compared to that big segment. So, and it is useful for all scale of industries.
Of course, talking about Industry 4.0, there is another major challenge because communication is a big part of it. What is the new skill set required by the workforce nowadays, because it's a lot of organizations are new to this concept of Industry 4.0 altogether?
There is no such specific skill set. If you're talking about the academic prospect, there is no such specific skill set. If you are more on the tech savvy or all tech savvy, because in that your mechanical skills is also required for that. Then your electronic skills to develop that kind of sensors, to understand the sensor technologies, and some microprocessors level, some coding prospects, right? Some analytics things. So all that things is required, and making of that we can create these kind of technologies into it. So if some students is any of this stream, whether it's from the mechanical sides or from electronics, instrumentation, or some computer science, IT science, so they can easily pursue their career in this kind of technologies and explore these kind of technologies very easily. Because in this, all this skill set is required, so they can easily adjust, they can easily add lots of values in that organizations who's working in this concept, Industry 4.0. Cyber security is also playing a very important role.
Okay.
Right? Because if all the things is integrate all these devices, billion of devices in future, next 5 to 7 years down the line, lots of devices is going to connect through internet, through cloud, for remote connectivity. So obviously cyber security will play an important role to make our communication, our data, companies' data privacy is a very important nowadays into it, because everybody is going to digitalize. So to make that cyber security people, the skill set, the person who is having a skill set on the cyber security domain, they will be on a huge demand.
Industry 4.0 somehow, as we are speaking, requires a significant shift in the culture, in the work culture. आपको लगता है नए jobs होंगे or people will be losing their previous jobs? Because as we spoke, there is a little challenge for a lot of people to adapt to this concept altogether. Also, as mentioned, आपने reason बताया कि आपने book इसलिए लिखी क्योंकि कई लोगों को इस चीज़ के बारे में बहुत सारे लोग हैं अभी नहीं जानते हैं. वेस्ट की बात हो रही है, इंडिया में नहीं जानते. तो do you think what impact will it have in terms of generating jobs, or will people be laid off? क्या होने वाला है आपके हिसाब से?
The same kind of scenario we observed and faced when computer was introduced, right? When typewriter was converting and transforming and upgrade into a computer, the people was thinking and looking for this kind of fear in the job, that what will happen. But the outcome which is there are lots of new jobs for our youngster, for our young students. They have got the lots of jobs. In fact, in IT is playing a very important contribution. IT is providing. It's just because of computer introduced in our country. So this fear is always be there, especially in the developing countries where new technology is coming into it. So you cannot rely only one thing, that one thing is okay for our whole life we can spend into it. So it is quite difficult. These are very few career opportunities or career vertical where you can spend all that life with a single technologies on the single operator. Whether you are in anything, any area you are, whether you are in finance, whether you are in some digital marketing or some technology engineering line. So computer is now a basic thing into it. So everybody should know the basics of computers at least. And the similar way, if new things are over there, so we have to just transform our just transform over there and upgrade our skills into it, so, which is the only important thing.
So, of course, talking about the transformation and people adapting to it. So, do you think there should be there are emerging trends in Industry 4.0, which, of course, the businesses should be preparing for the next 5 years? Like, there are next 5 year ka plan regarding that technology. What do you think about it?
There is no such a standard thing we can say about the for next 5 years. In a very generic way, for next 5 years, this is a existing company, existing manufacturer industries. In next 5 years, they just put efforts in the direction to creating a culture within the industry where people adopt this new digital revolution easily into it, right? So adopting and creating that kind of culture is the most important thing. Most of the time, what the thing is happening, we are talking about lots of things over there, but ground level is not ready to adopt these kind of technologies over there. There is a lack of things, whether it's there's a lots of things, whether it's a lack of knowledge, whether it's people are not aware what's the benefit of their getting into it. Like if there is some machine operator in the industries, and if you ask them to create one kind of automatic machine to it, the first reaction would be they will find that if they are getting an automatic machine, maybe it will replace him. But we can convince them that it is not just for the replacement, but it is the safety for that, right? And that will be just to make their life more easy into it, right? So this kind of things in there, so culture needs to be changed into it. And if you're talking specific about the technology, what's the kind of technologies needs to be adopted for next 5 years? That's again the connectivity. What's the kind of infrastructure you can build so that you can build your analytic tools into it. You can create some big data. You can make some kind of powerful algorithm into it. When you have the data, if data is not available, then you cannot do anything into it. So if you need to convert your and go for industry 4.0 and 6.0 and further, the basic things is in a ground level, you have to create that kind of infrastructure which is compatible for the industry 4.0. So I think it will take around 3 to 5 years down the line.
You pretty much answered my next question. I was about to pop this up. Talking about employees now, of course, industries are doing something to upskill their employees and promote Industry 4.0 among them. What do you think are the measures that business leaders should take to actually embrace Industry 4.0? Also, what do you think what do you have to say to encourage them to start adopting these technologies?
In a simple, I just give you an example. If only you are using a one application, mobile app, which is very popular nowadays. I think everybody in India is using that app, which is a WhatsApp, right? If let's suppose you are the only person who's using a WhatsApp, can you get the complete benefit of that? Nowhere. Because everybody is using WhatsApp, that's why it's easy to exchange the information, exchange the data, right? So that's the kind of app where we are utilizing our smartphone in a better way, right? In a similar way, if we're talking about the Industry 4.0, if the overall things is connected, then you will get the completely utilization and benefit of that. Only by doing the one particular area or one particular vertical, maybe it will give you some limited benefits into it, but the complete broader picture, if let's suppose for example, one robot is connected with another robot, they are exchanging the information, right? Accordingly, weld shop in some automotive industries is connected and exchanging the useful information with the assembly line, right? Assembly line is aware in weld shop how much data and how much production is going, and accordingly next day production line, assembly line will prepare itself. Now because they are already aware what's the thing is there in a backlog, right? From weld shop. That was just an example. Similarly, if you have one factory here in Gurgaon region, one factory in Chennai, one factory in Gujarat, one factory you are working with a 80% capacity, one factory you are working in a 60%, and one factory is working in a 20% efficiency. So automatically they, to utilization their resources, optimization of their resources, the companies who is overburdened or is running on a 80%, they can offload their production to a company who's running a under production into it. So all that decision can be taken automatically to optimization that resources. But when we can achieve this, when all these things is integrate and connectivity and exchanging the information. Let's suppose I'm just having one company of FMCG, right? I'm making lots of consumable goods into it, and I have to launch one new product in the market. What thing I should do first? I have to do some market survey. How I can do a market survey? Until unless I will not get a proper and relevant information from the market. And if my product is going for the organization, a very organized way, I have the distribution lineup, I have very well set up SAP implementation, then I will get a real-time information from my distribution network into it, right? I can get a real-time information that which kind of person are looking for my product, which kind of person are buying my product, and which kind of person is repeatedly is going to repeat to use my products again and again. If I'm getting a proper feedback from my distribution network, real-time information into it, then it will be easier for me to plan and implement the new features of my product into it, right? And after getting this feedback through Industry 4.0, because all these things we are talking in the prospect of Industry 4.0, my distribution network is connected, my vendor network is also connected, right? My machinery and internal person, my horizontal and vertical network. Horizontal network like my HR, my finance, right? My equipment system, my purchasing, everything is connected with each other, right? My engineering is also integrated with it. And external factors, my vendor is also connected, my customer, my distribution network, everything is connected, right? In that case, what's the kind of demand in the market? On the basis of that, I will get information that this is the new product which needs to be launched. What is the peak time? That's also I will get through analytics. How I can achieve these things, whether my vendors is available to support me in that prospect, raw material is available or not, what is the condition of that, I will get the real-time information from that. So all these things concept where everything is connected with each other with a common data source, that will give you a clear beauty of that Industry 4.0. So you have to just sit and observe the things, whether all the things is going fine or not, your intervention into it is required or not. Machine will talk with the machine, factory will talk with the factory, robot will talk with the robot, and they will take a decision with themselves.
So, as you spoke about communication and connection within the company, so आपकी book में भी you have mentioned the, an important thing, that is how integrating various system and processes. इसके साथ how can one implement smoothly Industry 4.0 without disturbing the legacy and without disturbing the balance that the company has within the entire structure. So how do you think? What do you think about this?
Again, it's a very relevant and very practical question. Yes, because as we discussed earlier, also to transform from 2.0, 3.0 to 4.0, the biggest challenge is about the connectivity. So lots of people and lots of companies not want to interrupt their existing system into it. Right? So for that, we have developed some kind of smart controller which work parallelly with the existing system. So we are not using any kind of information or data with their existing system into it. Our system works only on the standalone basis, and the data which is required, which is it's not a basic the whole completion, but some limited information which is required, like there's a one term which is called a overall equipment efficiency, which is the data related to the quality, data related to the availability, and so this kind of information which is required. So that's we can get by using some kind of parallel hardwares, some kind of parallel smart sensors into it. So we have developed this kind of solutions, which is helping the existing industries for brown sites kind of projects.
Okay. So according to you, what role do strategic partnerships and collaboration play in accelerating Industry 4.0 adoption, especially when it's about dealing complex technologies?
If we're talking about that technologies, the major factor is the real-time information. We are doing lots of different kind of partnerships and associations with different verticals. Currently, we are working with food and beverages, we are working with steel and metal, we are working with automotive, pharma, oil and gas. So we are working at a different kind of verticals and doing a different kind of associations with them. As far as technological partnership is concerned, we are developing lots of customized solutions for them as per their customized requirements and challenging. Some of the industries are looking for some specific requirements for their safeties, right? Some of the industries having their objective to decrease their human dependencies in lots of critical work, right? So as per their requirement, by using a different technologies, different skill set, whether it's a mechanical is involved into it in some kind, we are developing a new kind of a smart hardware for them. Some kind of smart software modules is required to do it. So for these things, we are providing them a customized solutions by putting their associations for our Industry 4.0. Some kind of industries who is just working, we are working for them just as a consultants. We are providing the consultancy, the scope of Industry 4.0 in their organizations on that time. So for that, we are doing the complete site survey. We are providing one report. In that report, we are mentioning which kind of what's the strategies, whether it's a short term and long term they can adopt by implementing Industry 4.0, and in which phases they can implement these kind of things in their plant, and for which specific things which help them to achieve their business goals. Like some companies, their goal is to increase their productivity, to decrease the downtimes, right? To increase the efficiencies, to decrease their dependency on human interference, right? And some is looking for some safety kind of solutions into it. So these are different companies having different kind of goals. Is a long-term goals, short-term goals, and by observing and considering all that things. So we are providing these kind of things in a long-term consultancy with the long-term associations, and we are deploying our engineers over there on their working place, and by observing their working behavior, working culture, their need. So we are offering and proposing the things into it and helping them to transform their industries to a 4.0.
Okay. Coming back to your book, there is this term that you've mentioned called digital twins. Can you explain how digital twins work and how can they revolutionize the industries like logistics and of course healthcare, automotive, etc.?
For industries, because all these terms which I have mentioned in this book, whether it's related with the blockchain, whether it's related with the augmented and virtual realities, now we are talking about mixed reality and extended realities also, whether it's related with the digital twins. All that things is the digitalizations of the whole industries. When we are doing that complete digitalization, so all that machineries, all that things, all that scenarios will come in a virtual world into it, right? So these things will happen when we have the complete scenarios, the complete permutation combinations, the things which is going to happen or which is already doing in the shop floor. The same thing we have to be synchronize and simulate in a virtual world. So these technologies like digital twin help us to create these kind of things. And the benefit of is that without intervention your production, without putting any kind of things in a real and physical world, you can simulate the scenario, you can relate the scenario, we can calculate the risk factor, we can train our engineers, our staff over there, which will help us not only just save our time, our resources, but also help us to estimate the not only just costing but estimate the overall efforts into it. So this is the whole things, and how we can achieve is that when we have the real scenarios into it, through digital twins we can create the all virtual factories in our system.
Again, another question from your book. There is one of the themes that is smart factories. So how could you paint a picture of what a smart factory is to the future and of the future might look like in terms of design, workflow and the use of technology?
If we relate this term, earlier we were using a normal phones, right? Cell phones, landline phones or normal phones, right? We're not saying that was a smart, right? But the phone which we are using right now, we are talking that now, we are saying that it's a smartphone. What factor make it smart? We have internet into it. We can do lots of smart work. We can check our mails. We can make lots of alarms, notifications. We can connect with the other peoples. They will provide us the real-time information. We can use a Google map. We can use a lots of application with that who's using analytics into it, right? Which make our life easy. So a normal device convert into a smart device in a cell phone. In a similar way, the normal factory, which is working in a standalone way, now people are working into it, they are doing a manual work into it. That factory convert into a smart factory by using lots of industrial automation concept, by using a robotic concept, by using all that things which is driving this driving technologies towards Industry 4.0. That technologies is a cloud infrastructure, which is our industrial internet of things, which is augmented and virtual reality, which is a cyber securities. So by bundling and making all the things, it's converting our factories into a smart factory. Smart factory which is providing all that relevant informations, not only the current and real-time information, but which can predict also. So predictions on the basis of production side, predictions on the basis of maintenance side, engineering sides, and lots of analytics is available into it. So that factories become a smart factory by using this kind of technologies into it.
Upon talking about smart factories, as you explained, I believe AI and machine learning are often viewed as game changers in Industry 4.0. Can you share some examples from your research or, of course, your book that where these technologies have dramatically improved a particular industry or a process?
No doubt, the technologies like AI and ML which we are talking is completely a game changer. But in India, we are struggling for that. We are struggling to adopt these technologies, especially the existing companies who's already using who's not into Industry 4.0, right? But to convert them into and taking it to an AI level. So there is they are struggling for that. The reason is basic infrastructure is not allowing. The information which is available from the machine side, the information which is available, it's not connected into it. So we are not getting a big picture. Basically, to get that real use and real benefit of that industry is the major fuel is data. If you're not getting the proper data, you cannot use this kind of technologies into it. And the much bigger data size you have, there is a probability that you will get a more accurate information from that, right? But the informations and the data which is available, so lots of industries are struggling for that. But the industries who's adopting this is AI. AI is using mainly for the predictions of alarms, right? There is some kind of critical alarms, critical notifications which is coming from different fields into it. Some critical applications like there's one interesting case studies about the AI, which is we have recently implemented, is a supply chain in a food industries, right? There is one company who is supplying some food materials, and they want to just integrate and check that information about the quality of that food which is delivered to the doorstep, right? So earlier there was no such a feedback mechanism for that. They were just delivering this thing, and they are getting some complaints from that the food which is provided, which is delivered to the end customer, the consumer, it was not appropriate due to some various parameters, and they were not having such kind of mechanism where they can check scientifically. They can check the parameters of that. So they have decided to use these kind of things into it. So we have provided some handheld device before delivering and handover to the consumer. They're just scanning that device. With scanning of this, they are getting the basic parameter like temperature and humidity of that things, and some kind of some packing things into it. So this kind of information they are getting to their centralized remote server. So by analyzing this parameter, they have observed that if temperature of that food container is up to that level, so that quality is acceptable. And if temperature is, or some humidity environment is going beyond that, so after that food quality is not up to that mark level. So they have, after analyzing this data, and they have making that kind of benchmarking for their internal reference purpose. And this data is varies from season to season, time to time, and location to location. Like in south regions, there is a different kind of parameters. In north, some different. In west, there is some different parameters into it. And the quality of food, the nature of food, the version of food, and the taste of the consumer, and the time, whether it's a morning time or night time, and in which season you are providing in a summers or in a winters. So by collecting all that data, they have creating some kind of benchmarking, not only just for the production side, but on the supply chain logistics side also, which help them to improve the technologies, improve their product quality, and more satisfy customers level into it. So by implementing these small things, so these things is very easily achievable, and they are getting a better results for that.
With Industry 4.0, as you said, there are a lot of advancements, and of course, in the real time, a lot of data is being collected. So also in the previously we have mentioned about cybersecurity. So I would like to know how important is cybersecurity in this case, and what are the risks associated with it?
Cybersecurity, I just give you one small example. It's not related with the industry, but somehow related with the connectivity, right? Most of the everybody is aware about the driverless car, right? So people are started talking about the driverless car. So just assume that scenario in the future, if there is a lots of driverless car, everybody is using the driverless car, right? And I came today on my driverless car, right? So instead of parking the park, I just make it available for some other person who is looking for that cab or some taxi. I can put it on hire basis. So I'm just doing my job and work. So my car is roaming around the roads, and if somebody is need that, they can pay to me. Automatically that payment will come to my account, and they will use the services of my car. After that, my car knows that I am here available in office till 6 p.m. So automatically 6 p.m. my car will come back to me and inform me that I am available. So we have to go back to home, right? So my car will take a decision accordingly. They will take a decision that how much far it has to go, so that whenever I need, it will come automatically to me within the time period. So my car will be advanced into it. In that, there is almost zero accident will happen into it, right? Because all that cars is a driverless car. So technologies they are using. So there is no scope of that accident. If accident is not be there, in that case, we can say car insurance companies no need into it, right? Well, where I have my car has to be stopped, whether it's a zebra line or red light will also be not be required. All my data, my car server will integrate with the traffic light server. Traffic police will just put that coordinates that this is the zebra line, this is the crossing line, all cars should be stopped here. My car will automatically follow that as per the algorithm, right? That will also get stopped. If suppose there is some error, some problem in my car, what will happen? My car will automatically take a decision that there is some problem is coming in my engine or my some internal parts, my technical problem is there. They will check which is the most relevant workshop which can take care about this kind of problem, right? Which is the most experienced workshop into it. My car will automatically go there. Yes, obviously it just inform me, but it will take a decision that this is the appropriate place where it will get serviced. So automatically this car will go. And in that workshop, this is also a humanless. There is no human into it. There is a one robot. Robot will check and diagnose the car, and that robot will give all that report to me that this is the problem and share that information to the car that this much time will take and this is the issue is there in the car and this one money will get. So that money will automatically get debit from my account. Robot will repair that my car. After getting this repaired, my car will come back to my place. Okay. Right? So in that case, let's suppose in that all scenario, because all that car is integrated with that common server, which is related with the traffic police, which is related with the some other concerned departments, right? So my toll will also automatically get whatever the things required, it will go automatically into it, right? So now coming to the question about the cyber security. So everything will get changed. So what's the role of who is going to steal my car? Yes. That should not be a proper key maker. That should be a one smart cyber hacker. Obviously, it's unethical if he is doing this work. Maybe he is sitting somewhere in the European country on the beach and he is knowing some basic information about my car. He is trying to hijack that parameters, and if suppose I want to take my car to the home, instead of taking that home, he will take my car to some other place. Right? So this is the kind of things and crime will get it happen. So cyber police will work somewhere in the Bangalore, somewhere in the Pune. So they are the control room, and the thief will sit somewhere in the Europe, and they will fight with each other that who will get my car back and give it to me. So this is the kind of scenarios happening to it. So in that whole scenario, the demand of that cyber police will get increased. The similar in the scenario if you're talking about the industries. If one industry is connected with another industries, all that data is driven into it. Everywhere the information is going placed into it. If your computer is smart enough, he is getting all that information from your side. Now the crucial information to protect that one. So you have to hire into it. So cyber security is playing a very important role in all that scenarios.
So well, this sounds almost like a far-fetched thing, जो भी अभी आपने explain किया, the role of cyber security and the automated cars, of course. One of the most, I would like to ask, what are some of the most exciting yet unexplored technologies in Industry 4.0, which in the ecosystem that we should be keeping an eye on for the near future or for the coming years?
As far as Industry 4.0 is concerned, I think augmented and virtual reality play a very important role into it, which is yet unexplored. When we are creating some kind of digital world, whether it's related with the safety and the training the person for a critical equipments, for the remote support, so mixed reality play a very important role into it. Nowadays, what the thing is happening, while getting that remote support, if some person is working in some particular area into it, and if in that case he has to connect with some expert, not to get that expert opinion on a real-time basis while doing the work and executing the project. So there is no such mechanism. They are taking that on support over a phone call or some kind of things on basis of assumptions only, right? But by using some kind of mixed reality, they will get a real-time feel into it. So that will become a more easy to optimization your manpower. And the second thing is about the safety. The safety in industries is also, it's not just the safety of that person who is working into it, but the safety of the visitors and safety of the all things, all persons into it. So the trainings and the simulations through AR and VR play a very important role with that, which is not yet explored more, because people are more working on the IoTs and cloud and remote connectivity, which is completely relevant and related with the production data only. But AR and VR also play a very important role in this scenario.
With, of course, a lot of organizations in the world so far are kind of struggling with the carbon footprint as well. So sustainability is another key concern in Industry 4.0. So how do you see the emerging technologies contributing to the little more greener and more sustainable manufacturing and industrial practices? Because that's the need of the hour.
Yeah. Of course, sustainability is a very major factor. No? It's a moral responsibility, it's a responsibility for everyone into it. As far as industries is concerned, it's add lots of values into it. If we are putting a right resource, optimization the resources into it, we are not wasting our resources much more into it. So somehow we can justify with the nature in that prospect. The optimization of resources means there is zero wastage, zero downtime. We are optimization our energy equipments in a very well manner. We are optimization the human resources and the other living, non-living resources in a much better way. Overall, our equipment efficiency is going to increase. So by optimization these things, we are adding somewhere in the nature, adding into it.
Okay, now we are moving on to a little more broader impact of Industry 4.0. You touch on the socio-economic implications of Industry 4.0. How do you think it's the wave of, this wave of digital transformation will affect the global markets and especially developing nations like India? Because West, as we spoke, it's already been implemented in a lot of places, but when it's about developing nations like India, so how do you see the impact of Industry 4.0?
Yeah, for the countries, developing countries, right? Industry 4.0 is basically the outcome, if you say that, optimization of your resources, right? To get quality product by using this kind of technologies, right? By using more production, the mass production, reducing downtime, right? So it is required everywhere, whether you are in a developed countries or underdeveloped. So all needs these things, right? Yes, of course, the major challenge is about the adaptability of these technologies and maintain this kind of technologies. The skill manpower is there, right? As far as if you're talking about a specific country, as far as India is concerned, we have expert manpower in the IT sector. IT, through IT, we are getting a lots of manpower which is related with the code and now AI based, and if you're talking about that cyber security, so everything is available into it, right? And if you're talking about the standalone technologies which you're talking, the cloud is yes relevant to others, is a very new technologies into it, but people are adopting these technologies very fast manner compared to West region. So our adoption in the cloud technologies is very fast. And if you're talking about the mechanical sides and the electronics and instrumentation, so we are doing well into it, these sides also. So if we combine all that things, so we have a very few manpower available into it, who is having a basic knowledge and basic understand about all that things, right? So who used all that information, all that knowledge and providing Industry 4.0 concept. So the manpower which we are having is expertise in different domain into it, right? So that's why the organizations who's providing Industry 4.0, he's having in a team who's having team members having a different kind of skill set. He's carrying this kind of people in their team, right? So by doing this, they're managing, and in our country we have enough skill power for that. but adoptions of that industry 4.0, because the obstacle of that industry is transformations 3.0 to 4.0 is not very much encouraging thing into it, right?
Okay.
So that's why to invest so much of that and create that kind of ecosystem, it will take little bit time for that. It will take little bit time for this.
Okay. So, what do you think are the potential ethical considerations that need to be addressed as Industry 4.0 continues to evolve, especially when it comes to AI and, of course, automation?
If we're talking about that AI, AI is basically when big data is available with us, right? Then AI can play a very important role into it. Because here we are talking just specific about the industries, right? A part of that, if you're talking about the consumer sides, we have the complete big data, right? We have the data in a billion trillion ways, right? Bytes, and it's generating in a daily basis into it. So we have a completely information into it. As far as industries is concerned, most of the industries is lacking behind to create that kind of infrastructure where they're creating some kind of raw information and data into it. So until unless they are not getting into it, so by using implementing AI and ML kind of technologies, it's too far for that.
So coming back to your book, in your book you have mentioned, of course, you have discussed the integration of IoT devices. Can you give us an example of an IoT, how IoT in an industrial context is reshaping the supply chain and, of course, management or predictive maintenance for that matter?
IoT is not just for the supply chain, some management later, but in other prospects also, IoT play a very important role. Not only just the industries, but the other households also. For example, let's in water industries, if we're taking example of that water industries, right? So water resources is limited, right? And to manage that distributions of water is the biggest challenge nowadays. The area like Rajasthan, we are just facing that in particular season, there is a very shortage of that water supplies into it. And sometimes what the thing is that irregularity on the supply chain of that water, distributions of that water, we have faced in past. So to give that solutions into it by using that IoT technologies, we are making that distribution, water distribution, in a very uniform and demand based. So wherever the demand is there, so that much supply we can do by using the IoTs. What we did in that, we have implement lots of smart sensors and smart valves, right? And we are regulating the supply of that water through that by making a centralized control room. And as per the demand, that valve is getting on and off automatically, and they have supplied that water resources and in a very uniform and in a very natural way. Earlier it was completely dependent on the human, and the challenge which faced while giving this distribution network to the only depend on that human source, it was not a completely regular. Very irregularities was we faced into it. Some supplies was that there is oversupplied into it, some was undersupplied into it. But after connecting these smart devices and taking all that information on the central location, and by making some kind of AI kind of things and machine learning concept, we making some kind of data analytics that in which time, which particular region having which kind of demand of water. So we utilize these things and making this kind of supplies automatic into it, and this things is working very perfectly into it. So we are using this. So the similar way, not only just in the water and smart grids in power sectors, the similar way they are also working into it. What is the kind of domestic supply requirement is there? So accordingly, they will adjust to the supply of this. So optimization of resources, and by making this all that things by using some technologies into it, we are utilizing all that infrastructure and everything is in a very proper way.
We have spoken about the future of Industry 4.0. There's another thing that I would like to ask. What do you think will be the next frontier after Industry 4.0, if you have any idea about this?
It's difficult to say, but right now our complete focus is for the Industry 4.0 only. and we are just now putting all our efforts, all resources to implement and execute these kind of projects. Yes, after that we'll face the industry 5.0, and maybe industry 5.0 is more on the hybrid model where the proper utilization of human intelligence and artificial intelligence. So we'll face in that industry 5.0. So that is around, it will take around 10 to 15 years at least down the line. We'll face that things also, where we'll go for the hybrid model.
So now I would like to know a little bit about your personal life and career. What led you to be an expert in this space? You know quite a lot, and I would be curious, and of course our viewers would be curious as well. How exactly did you, like, what were the defining moments maybe in your career and your life and experiences that led you to become an expert in this field?
Yeah, there's no such specific things. It's not a one or two, but it's a continuous journey into it. We are still into a learning phase. I started my career in industrial automation, I think around 2004, 20 years back. So during that time, we were working with transformation of 2.0 to 3.0, right? So during that time, new things, new controllers, new kind of technologies was there into it. And the ecosystem was also not very much familiar for that, right? Yes, skill manpower is always a challenge into it. During that time also that was a challenge, and right now also is a different kind of skill set is required into it, so that is also a challenge into it. But when you align yourself, your efforts with the customer requirements, customer demand, so new technologies, adaptability, so you have to do for the survival process, and you can learn and you can do the things into it. So there is no such a standard thing. There is no such a academy or university which can feed all that things in your mind. So just you have to just align your efforts with the customer requirement. That's all.
So as we move almost to the last segment of the podcast, I would like to ask you this one thing. What is this one key takeaway that you would recommend all the business entrepreneurs or the leaders to take away from your book? Any advice for them?
All that technologies which is required to drive this industry 4.0 is mentioned in this book with some practical examples, right? But it just gives you one trigger. Right? It just gives you one trigger. To implement execution is a long journey for this, is a continuous effort, right? If you're having that kind of things, just don't stop yourself only with this. By all that contact details and information are available, you can contact us. So definitely if you need some kind of practical exposure, whether you are willing to execute some project, whether you want to get some kind of practical exposure for that, right? So you can contact us and you can work with us. We'll provide that kind of things also.
Of course. Like finally, I want to know what's next for you. What are you planning? Are there any upcoming projects, or are there any new areas of research that you're pursuing? What are your future plans, or what are you excited about exploring?
Recently, we have started virtual reality and mixed reality projects, where we are simulating all that critical applications which is there in industries, whether it's related with the assembly line or some safety and some training the people, right? Some mixed reality for the maintenance purpose, for that repairing, right? This is the new things for us, new technologies which we adopted into it. So we are very excited to launch these things. So maybe within this month we are going to launch these kind of solutions for our existing customers. And a part of that, there is one area which we really want to explore more about the cyber security. So cyber security on the hardware sides is also one of the most important thing, right? So we are just thinking that technologies which is going to advance, there is lots of risk is also involved into it, right? Privacy, if you're talking about the industry sides, if we are working, all that things, overall economy depends on the energy, because we are using a smart devices to charge them. For charge them, we need energy, power. If some person is making some kind of attack on our power grid, so all things will get blackout, right? So how we can protect that? What's the daily basis challenges we will get? So it's a continuous process, and we have to be alert every time into it. We use some AI and ML kind of algorithm, honeypots kind of systems to protect our critical measures. So this is also again another kind of defense, and we can serve our country to protect these kind of critical assets. on that. So this is the area which we are working, and we want to explore more in upcoming years.
So thank you so much, Kapil, for this enriching conversation, and also I am sure a lot of people will be able to take away a lot of advices from the entire discussion that we had. All the very best for your book.
Thanks for calling me. Thank you.
So everyone, thank you so much. This was the conversation that we had, and I hope you enjoyed that. Do check out the Digital Revolution book that is available on all the e-commerce platforms, including Amazon. Thank you so much for your time. Goodbye. For more information, please contact us or visit www.technovizautomation.com.